New tonight, a murder investigation is underway in Madison after a shooting this afternoon on the city's south side. NBC 15's Sonica Bargo was at the scene this afternoon. Sonica, what do we know so far?
The shooting happened at about 1 p.m. in the 1000 block of Spruce Street. Police say they found the victim there with life-threatening injuries. The person was taken to the hospital to be treated, and we learned around 6:30 that the victim had died. Officials say detectives are looking for multiple people involved and still trying to speak with as many witnesses as possible.
What we have to realize is the severe consequences with our young people that are shooting rounds and hitting property and now hitting a person, and how dangerous and devastating that can be.
The scene has been quiet for several hours now as the police department continues looking for people involved.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer Cleese. Madison police are releasing new information today about the victim and the quick arrest of a suspect. The investigation started around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon when police responded to reports of gunshots on the south side. When they got to the 1000 block of Spruce Street, they found the young man who had been shot. He was taken to the hospital as officers started searching for the suspect. Sarah Massler-Donar has you covered tonight on the man police arrested.
Jennifer, it took less than 12 hours for Madison police to find the man they say pulled the trigger yesterday afternoon. 20-year-old Marcus Hamilton is now in custody. Police have arrested him on one charge of first-degree homicide. Police say they discovered pretty quickly that Hamilton knew the victim and that this wasn't a random shooting. They tried to provide life-saving aid to that young victim at the scene, but he ended up dying at the hospital. MPD says the victim wasn't from Dane County, and police are still working to tie up any loose ends.
We believe Hamilton is our principal involved individual at this time, but we're continuing to investigate and explore whether or not other individuals may have a part in this or a role in this somehow.
Right now, officials aren't releasing the victim's name, and they're still working to find out what led up to his death. Coming up tonight at 10 o'clock, I'm digging into the suspect, Hamilton's criminal history, to find out more about him. And I'll also have more from police about what actually helped them catch Hamilton so quickly.
Police say neighborhood officers were key in finding a homicide suspect in Madison this weekend. MPD arrested 20-year-old Marcus Hamilton last night in connection with a shooting death in the 1000 block of Spruce Street yesterday afternoon. Sarah Massler-Donar has you covered tonight on the quick arrest.
Clearly, anytime something like this happens and involves young people, it's an absolute tragedy.
A 20-year-old man is in custody after Madison police say he shot and killed another young man Saturday afternoon on the south side. Marcus Hamilton is facing charges of first-degree intentional homicide.
It's definitely a positive to be able to bring some level of closure quickly to the case, but of course then you start to think about the impacts to the families and the people who are related or friends or family, whatever, of both sides of what occurred.
While law enforcement officers were working the scene here on Spruce Street, MPD was looking for Hamilton. They say that thanks to some of their neighborhood officers, they were able to locate Hamilton pretty quickly on the other side of town.
They were able to do some pretty quick digging on what we knew about Mr. Hamilton and found some areas of the city to check, and they had some good fortune and were able to find him quickly.
Well, a man is in jail tonight as police continue to investigate the circumstances of a deadly shooting. It happened yesterday afternoon on the 1000 block of Spruce Street near downtown. Madeline O'Neill is in now with an update from police.
Michelle, the victim's name hasn't been released yet, but police say he's a young Wisconsin man not from the Dane County area. The man accused, 20-year-old Marcus Hamilton, is facing a first-degree intentional homicide charge.
Peaceful and quiet.
Maybe not quite as quiet as when John Fideli joined the neighborhood in 1953.
Back then it was the middle of nowhere. I mean, there was nothing across the street. That was all field.
Especially not on Saturday afternoon.
Well, one person shot at least.
Fideli wasn't home to hear the shots fired, but heard from plenty of friends.
Well, one of the neighbors called me. He asked me if I was home, because there was some goings on.
They were last seen running through the backyards from Spruce.
Right outside Fideli's home on the block of Spruce Street off of Fish Hatch. Madison police say a man was shot while the sun was still shining at about 1:18 in the afternoon.
The city is now asking for you to assist.
First responders did what they could, but the victim later died at the hospital. It's the first homicide Fideli can remember in his neighborhood.
I was surprised, but I wasn't. I mean, it seems to happen anywhere and everywhere anymore.
Anytime something like this happens and involves young people, it's an absolute tragedy.
Assistant Police Chief John Patterson says work by neighborhood officers and detectives led to a quick arrest of 20-year-old Marcus Hamilton, who is believed to have known the victim.
This does not appear to be a random incident.
Still,
anytime there's guns being fired in a city as populated as ours, that's an absolute concern. You know, you've heard us, I think, talk at least several times in the recent past about some of the incidents involving guns around the city, and it's absolutely very concerning.
Where are you going to go? I mean, it can happen anywhere.
Charges are expected to be filed Monday against 20-year-old Marcus Hamilton in the death of 18-year-old Gunnar Holum. Madison police say Holum was shot and killed on Spruce Street Saturday afternoon. Court records say Hamilton fired 2 gunshots at Holum as Holum sat in the car.
Some new information tonight on the man arrested in a deadly shooting in Madison over the weekend. Today, NBC 15 learned that Marcus Hamilton, who was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, is the son of a man who was murdered in 2008. Marcus Hamilton Sr. was shot to death back in 2008 in a home on Tempe Drive.
Thanks for joining us. First tonight, a suspect is in police custody in connection to a fatal shooting that happened over the weekend.
Gabriella Becerra joins us with more information. Gabriella?
Over the weekend, Hamilton was arrested on a tentative charge of first-degree intentional homicide after he allegedly shot 18-year-old Gunnar Holum of Dodgeville off of Fish Hatchery Road on Madison's south side. Holum later died at the hospital. Today, Madison police spokesperson Joel Despain confirmed that Hamilton's father, also named Marcus Hamilton, was shot to death in this Tempe Drive apartment in 2008. This shooting marks Madison's 3rd homicide of the year, and authorities say there is reason to believe that the 2 people involved knew each other.
Gabriella, thank you.
Next at 5, the man arrested for first-degree murder in Madison over the weekend has his bond set at $1 million. 20-year-old Marcus Hamilton was in court this afternoon accused of shooting and killing 18-year-old Gunnar Holum of Dodgeville. Prosecutors will allege Hamilton shot Holum in the 1000 block of Spruce Street near downtown Saturday afternoon. Police say they believe Hamilton and Holum knew each other. The shooting, Madison's 3rd homicide of the year. Hamilton due back in court Monday for his initial appearance.